Alright, Shalom. First off, I want to start out by saying all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash is all praises who the world calls God, and Jesus Christ, the true names in the Hebrew, is Yahweh for the Heavenly Father, and Yahushai for his beloved Son. And they're only for the benefit of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And confusion in the face that their lines go back to a male of the 12 tribes of Israel. But they're gonna end up looking like every nation under the sun, even Edom. I also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Tazabah, Lord willing, with another video to edify. And this is a topic where it shows the power of the Lord, and it also lets you understand that the Lord isn't dealing with somebody just because they have a status in the world, you know. Let me get that real quick. First Timothy 6:5, it says, I'll start at 4. It says, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, wherefore cometh envy, strife, railing, evil surmising, perverse disputing of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of truth, supposing that gain is godliness. For such withdraw yourself. So the Lord's telling you that these men out here that believe that gain is godliness, and they believe just because they're doing good in America and all that people think that the Lord's dealing with them, but that's not the case, because the Lord always chose the underdog, man. Look what he did in the book of Samuel's, man. First Samuel's the 16th chapter. I'll start at the top. It says, and Yahweh said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Because Saul, he went off, man. He sacrificed when the Lord didn't tell him to. He was stepping out of line, man. He was being an out-of-pocket Negro, man. So the Lord put evil spirits on him, and he rejected him. It says, fill thine horn with oil and go, and I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite. It says, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And Yahweh said, take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to Yahweh, and call Jesse to sacrifice. And I will show thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint him, and thou shalt anoint unto me him who I am named unto thee. And Samuel did that which Yahweh spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? Because back then, they said, comest thou peaceably, in a question mark, Because back then, people feared the prophets, because they know they came for business, and it was on the orders of the Lord, man. Just like kings in the ancient world, when a messenger from a king in a far province came, it was serious business, man. And they understood that back then. Now, verse 5, it says, and he said, peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto Yahweh. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, because Saul came, not Saul, but Samuel came on the business of Yahushua because he said he's going to show you who's going to be the new king. Now, repeat this, verse 6. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely Yahweh's anointed is before him. But Yahweh said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, don't look on how he looks, or not the height of his stature, how big he was, man. He was probably built like a motherfucker, man, built Fort Tough and shit. But the Lord said, don't look on how he looks and his stature, because I have refused him. For I, Yahweh, see it not as man seeth. For man look on the outward appearance, but Yahweh look on the heart. You see? That's what this is about, man. The Lord's looking at the inward man. He's not dealing with everybody. Just because you're an Israelite, you got money and all this stuff, and you've got a claim in this world. The scriptures tell you that the things that are esteemed in this world are an abomination to the Lord. You see? Verse 8, it says, and Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither had Yahweh chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither had Yahweh chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of the sons to pass before Samuel, and Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahweh had not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, and we will not sit down till he come hither. You see? So he had to send for King David, man. So I'm a that's just for, account, showing you that the Lord really chose the least regarded of all the time, man. He always chose the least regarded, and that's what he's doing in these same times, man. That's why the men that get woken up to this truth, they're not at the top of industry. There might be some brothers that are well off financially and stuff like that. You're gonna have your exceptions, but for the most part, we're the underdogs in the world, man. This is in the book of 1 Corinthians. And 18 it says, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is power. It is the power of the Most High. You see? See, to the world, they look at us preaching like, oh, this foolish, man, because they're gonna die. They don't have any faith. But to us that came into this thing and believed, we're like, hey, man, it's all through the power of the Heavenly Father that we got this word, man. That we were even able to walk away from the filth that we were performing while we were in the world before we were with the knowledge of the Heavenly Father. That's how we look at this. But the world looks at this as a foolish thing that's a waste of time. It says, verse 19, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. You see? The Lord is going to destroy the wisdom of the wise. The wise in this world, who are those, man? The ones that have a claim. Your celebrities, your professors in these colleges. They believe because they have this degree of knowledge, which is they're only limited by that field of knowledge. When you have a degree, you're limited to that field of knowledge. That's what it's basically saying. This is as far as your understanding goes. It's a degree, you see? So these professors in colleges have a degree of knowledge, and the Lord's made that knowledge that they have foolish, man. Because with all that knowledge, they can't save themselves. With all that knowledge, they don't know what to do when all hell breaks loose. But the men in this truth, we understand through the power of the Lord, that these things have to happen. And as long as we do what we have to, that we'd be defended. These people aren't able to tell you what's going to happen before it happens. The ones that aren't in this truth, the ones that are preaching this word deceitfully, the ones that are just using Israel as a means to gain financial stability. Verse 20, where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Had not the Most High made the foolishness of this world? The Lord did. And I'm going to grab this real quick. This was 1 Corinthians 3 and 19. It says, for the wisdom of the world is foolishness with the Most High. For it is written, he had taken the wise in their own craftiness. You see? It says, and again, Yahweh knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. You see? And the Lord knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Because the people in this world that think they're good and well off, and they believe they got all the answers, and they got a 4-car garage, big backyard, big ass pool, nice ass cars and stuff like that. They got money in their bank account. The ones that believe that's all that life consists of. Hey man, when those things start getting snatched away, and you have things like a economic collapse come upon them, what are they gonna have to stand on? Nothing. That's why the Lord's made them foolishness, man, because they think this world is gonna always continue. They don't consider that every civilization has gone down. Every empire, which America is nothing but an empire, every empire has gone down, and they don't think about that in these times. It says, back in 1 Corinthians 1 and 21, it says, for after that in the wisdom of the Most High, the world by wisdom knew not God. It pleased the Most High by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. You see? By the foolishness of teaching, man. He took something that's able to be ridiculed and brought men into this thing, man. Because when we're out there on the highways and byways, man, we're made as a gazing stock, as the scriptures say. People look at us like we're foolish, we're bums. They even say that to some brothers, man. They say that to brothers, man. They call you bums. They tell you get a job. But these niggas don't fucking put it in their heads like we've been working all week. This is our days off, man. They're foolish. It says, for the Jews require a sign and the Greeks seek after wisdom. But we preach a Mashiach crucified, unto the Jews a stumbling block, but unto the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, because both Jews and Greeks are talking about the Israelites who knew they were Israelites, and the Greeks are the Israelites who did not know they were Israelites. A Mashiach, the power of the Most High, and wisdom of the Most High, because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men. You see? The things that we can bring out milk scriptures and confound those men that you think are wise in the world, man. Because we're dealing with the Lord's word, man. We're not dealing with our own words. When you speak out of your own tongue, you'll stumble. But when we come out of this word, people have nothing to say, because the Lord has revealed it unto the meek and lowly. It says his secrets are with the meek. This is last one we get. Matthew 11 and 25. It says, and at that time when Yahushua said, I thank thee, O Yahweh, O Father, Yahweh of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, the ones that have a claim in this world, that are lifted up. Your TV preachers that are filling up stadiums. The preachers at your everyday churches and shit like that. The Most High has made them. The Most High has hid his wisdom from those men and has revealed them unto babes. And who are the babes now? The ones that are out there on highways and byways, the ones that are not esteemed in this world, and who the world rejects. So Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to say Kachalah, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashem Rakar Kadash, double honors to elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and mercy to Hophalek. Hey, Shalom.